Call tonight's meeting to order. Start with the pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Kristen, can you start with the roll call, please?
Richard Seer.
Here.
Christopher Hermon.
Here.
Ronald Murphy, absent. John Steyer.
Here.
Steve Thomas.
Here.
And Derek Wood.
Here.
Thank you.
And I will ask for a motion to excuse Ron from tonight's meeting. So moved. Second. Second was noted. All right, so this is the first point in tonight's meeting that's open for public comment. If anyone would like to address the council on items not on the agenda, I would ask for you to come up to the podium, state your name and address, and let us know what you'd like to talk about. Well, moving forward, I'll ask for a motion to approve the consent calendar as written. Can we have a vote on that, please, Kristen?
Richard.
Yes.
Chris.
Yes.
John.
Yes.
Steve.
Yes.
And Derek.
We're moving on to news presentations and recognitions. We do have a few items to consider here tonight. The first one, Josh, do you want to walk us through the Boston post-meeting presentation?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the council, everybody in attendance tonight. This is a tradition that we have had here in Hermon for a very long time. The Boston Post-Cane is recognizing our eldest member, eldest resident of Hermon, who this year is Joan Young. We have an informational packet here for the council and additional copies for anybody in the audience. We didn't make a lot tonight, but we could get these if anybody would like to read up on this a little bit more. Ms. Young is 98.78 years old. It's such a tight race that we have to go by the day because of the closing age we have some of our residents. Kristen presented this post to Mrs. Young this past Sunday. She was unable to come to tonight's meeting. I don't believe there's anybody here tonight representing Mrs. Young, but she was given her cane on Sunday. We hold the original cane in the town office for view for anybody that'd like to come take a look at it. And then we have a replica made that we hand out to the recipient. So we just wanted to recognize Mrs. Young for the Boston Post-Cane Award tonight.
Great. Great. Thank you. Next, we have a proclamation for tonight.
Yes, so Mr. Chair, members of the council, this year is the 55th annual Professional Municipal Clerks Week, which will be next week from May 5th to May 11th. And we wanted to, as town manager, in discussion with the town council, we wanted to officially proclaim next week to be Municipal Clerks Week. And we have this here to read tonight, if you would, there.
All right, I'll read this. The 55th Annual Professional Municipal Clerks Week, May 5th through the 11th, 2024. Whereas the office of the Professional Municipal Clerk, a time-honored and vital part of local government, exists throughout the world, and whereas the office of the Professional Municipal Clerk is the oldest among public servants, and whereas the office of the Professional Municipal Clerk provides the professional link between the citizens, the local governing bodies and agencies of government at other levels, and whereas professional municipal clerks have pledged to be ever mindful of their neutrality and impartiality, rendering equal service to all. Whereas the professional municipal clerk serves as the information center on functions of local government and community. Whereas professional municipal clerks continually strive to improve the administration of the affairs of the office of the professional municipal clerk through participation in education programs, seminars, workshops, and the annual meetings of their state, provincial, county, and international professional organizations. Whereas it is most appropriate that we recognize the accomplishments of the office of the professional municipal clerk. Now therefore, we, the Town Council of Hermon, do recognize the week of May 5th through 11th, 2024 as Professional Municipal Clerks Week, and further extend appreciation to our professional municipal clerk, Kristen Cushman, and to her deputy clerks, Brooke Deshane, Keely Ganya, and Angela Ireland, for the vital services they perform and their dedication to the community, dated this second day of May 2024. Thank you.
We have a presentation for the clerk, and I just want to publicly thank Kristen, Brooke, Angie, and Keely for all the work that they do at the town office. Until you really see what they do on a day-to-day basis, it's very difficult. The amount of information that they keep track of for the town historically, and just the day-to-day operations that they are in charge of, it's quite exceptional what they do, and is a very vital role in what we do here for the town of Hermon. So we are going to pass these out. Is that correct? Brooke, if you would like to come up. Brooke is going to offer us a speech tonight. Thank you. Let's get a good picture. Kristen. Mr. Chair, if you'd like to come out.
All right. Are we gonna?
I'll put it at the desk.
Look over here. Thank you so much.
Congratulations. They also didn't know this was happening. We had a number of council meetings, but didn't know.
They've been quizzing me since 2 weeks ago on why they're coming. It was actually 3 weeks. So it's been a rough 3 weeks. I've been having to hide a lot of things.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda, we have an assessing update.
Thank you. Mr. Chair, members of the council, I'll try to keep it pretty brief. Today, I'd like to say that based on where we're at in the budget and talking to Josh and the level of new value we're seeing in town, both residential and commercial, I feel comfortable projecting we won't see any increase in the mill rate. Demand for housing in the town stays high. New supply has not increased at a pace to keep up with that, so we're still seeing prices remain high, despite the high rates compared to the past several years of what we got accustomed to. Last year, we did see the tax rate stabilization program come and go, and so there are going to be a number of residents who see an impact this year. However, it won't be as extreme as we were predicting. That pretty much sums it up. We do have a number of exemptions we always try to make public and make sure everyone's aware of, so they're allowed to pay more taxes than needed while still maximizing reimbursements from the state. I spoke previously last year about our certified ratio dropping a little bit further from 100%, so that's why we saw an impact on the homestead exemption a lot of people saw this past year. We're working with the state to try and see if we can get that back closer to 100 and maximize the redemptions. So, trying to keep it short, sweet, to the point, but
I can just ask one question. So you're anticipating the mill rate will be stable, but the other end, the overall valuations, are you expecting to see, for the average resident to see any increase in valuation in their house over the past year?
That is to be determined still, based on where the budget's coming in pretty level and the new value we've seen in town. The mill rate, like I said, will be able to stay the same. We're always looking to make sure everyone's valuation is equitable, so depending on the sales ratio studies we conduct, some people might see increases, some people might see decreases, but overall the mill rate should stay the same. Just based on the new value we have from residential and commercial, everything's stayed pretty consistent since from the prior years, I should say. And from what I know, it's promising, looking promising going forward with new value as well.
Do you have an idea off the top of your head how much new value was created over the past year?
Rough ballpark, I'd say about 15 to 20 million would be so standard, not anything drastic, no drastic changes from prior years, I should say.
Great.
And one thing I'll mention, this year compared to last year, we had a larger budget increase last year. We saw some significant increases in our contractor costs. This year, we aren't realizing those increases. So as far as changes in assessments, I feel it's going to help our mill rate favorably without the increased expense onto that.
Great.
So, Mr. Barry, with the inflation going on, has that affected how much we are paying for services this year?
Well, we anticipated and took the brunt of that last year, and so the increases continuing on to this year, we're not seeing, the big increases we're seeing are from county tax bills, and really items out of our control. I wouldn't necessarily say inflation, but we're much more stable this year than last year as far as the increases that we're seeing. They're minimal. They're normal increases this year, I would say.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we are going to move forward on the agenda. Next category is public hearings. We do have one scheduled public hearing. I will open the public hearing at 7:14, and it's to consider a liquor license renewal for Hermon Golf, Inc. Josh, do you need to give us any background?
The only thing I would mention is that this is an annual occurrence for these type of licenses, so nothing new and no negative impacts from this business holding the liquor license.
Okay. Any questions, comments, concerns?
Any trouble with the alcohol excessive consumption complaints?
Not at all. We actually don't hardly ever had any with any establishments in town.
All right, hearing no other questions or comments, I will close out the public hearing at 7:15. Moving forward on the agenda, under scheduled agenda items, we do not have any old business items to consider this evening. Moving to new business, the first item of order is to consider approving the Hermon Golf Course license renewal. I do have a resolve for that. Any other questions before I read the resolve? Be it resolved by the Hermon Town Council and Town Council assembled to approve Hermon Golf Inc., DBA Hermon Meadow Golf Course liquor license on Thursday, May 2nd, 2024. We have a motion to approve.
Let's make a motion to approve the Hermon Golf Course liquor license renewal.
Okay, we have a second?
I'll second.
All right, I will accept unless doubted.
Passes down to 2 places to sign.
Okay. Next item under new business, to consider authorizing the town clerk to sign future catering event applications and on-premise taste testing event applications. Josh, you want to give us some background on that?
Yeah, this is again just another annual authorization we give to Kristen to sign these permits or these event approvals so that they don't have to come back to the council. We had a lot of these a few years back, and we thought it was easier for us to just grant Kristen the authority to handle those.
I was curious, do we have many taste testing events? Oh, yeah? All right, I'll read the resolve. Be resolved by the Hermon Town Council and Town Council assembled to authorize the town clerk to sign on behalf of the town all catering event applications and on-premise taste testing event applications. This resolve shall continue in full force and effect unless revoked by future action taken by the town council. We have a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
I will accept unless noted.
Just for clarification, was it accepted unless doubted for the last one too, for Hermon
Yes.
Golf Course? It was, okay.
Yes. Next item on the agenda, we need to consider accepting the council member resignation of Daniel Haggerty. Josh, do we need to do anything there, or?
Not really, just she submitted her resignation about 2 weeks ago now, I believe. It was a Friday afternoon, so it's just formally part of the process and we have to accept that.
Okay. One thing I did notice in this resolve versus the next one is that it has an effective date. Do we need to have that in here?
We'll add that in, yeah, effectively.
Well, I can add that in when I read the resolve. So you want me to use today's date, or? So the resolve reads, be resolved by the Hermon Town Council and Town Council assembled to accept the resignation of Danielle Haggerty from the Town Council effective April 19th, 2024. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
I guess we probably should take a vote on that. Can we have a vote on that, please, Kristen?
Richard,
Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes.
and Gary.
Yes.
Thank you.
Alright. Next item on the agenda is to consider accepting school committee resignation for Christopher McLaughlin. Anything else that we need to do there, Josh?
I know there's been some questions as to why we're accepting the resignation, but all elections and oaths come through the clerk's office, so we handle those.
Right. The resolve reads, be resolved by the Hermon Town Council and Town Council assembled to accept the resignation of Christopher McLaughlin as of June 1st, 2024 from the school committee. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
Okay, can we have a vote on that, please, Kristen?
Richard,
Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes.
and Gary.
Yes.
All right, let's see. The next item of new business is we need to consider accepting a number of dates for events coming up over the next month and a half. Josh, you want to walk us through these, or?
Yeah, these are just our standard elections that we're going to be having. June 11th, I know it says secret ballot, but that's our standard election, annual town meeting. The validation election for the school and the November election as well. We're just officially setting those dates in the town.
Okay. Any questions? I will read the resolve. Be it resolved by the Hermon Town Council and Town Council assembled to schedule the following dates. June 11th, 2024, secret ballot election for municipal and state from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. at the Patricia A. Durham School to elect town council and school committee members and state primary. June 13th, 2024, annual town meeting to vote on budget warrant articles at Hermon High Auditorium at 6 p.m. June 18th, 2024, secret ballot school validation election at the Hermon Town Office from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. And November 5th, 2024, secret ballot municipal charter referendums, school committee member, term ending June 30th, 2025, along with state election from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. at the Patricia A. Durham School to elect school committee member and state. We have a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Can we have a vote on that, please, Kristen?
Richard,
Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes.
Garrett.
Yes.
Thank you.
And Mr. Berry, I have one question. Those dates for the election, when would early election start? Or will they have?
Well, I think that will depend depending on the election, but we'd have to
No, they don't have it, or they do?
go ahead.
So, are you early voting or absentee?
Both, actually.
We do only absentee, and you can start requesting 90 days out from an election,
Mhm.
and then you can start voting in the office 30 days prior.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so what else? That's it for new business this evening. We're going to move to a workshop item. Josh, you're going to walk us through the draft warrant.
Yep, thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the council. This is the draft warrants that we prepared based upon the discussions that we had this late winter, early spring on the budgets. To start, this is where we're the discussion of collapsing our reserve accounts into a more manageable amount of this amount of that. It goes down through the CIP allocations, which we reviewed. Then there's several questions throughout the draft warrants that just outline some of the spending that we're looking to do. It's not a lot this year. And then it goes down into the approval of the budget numbers that we've gone over, as well as the school questions. So pretty standard warrant articles as compared to last year. Same idea.
So this draft warrant was written by the attorneys for the school and the town, right?
Well, basically, yeah, so we're using the same template from last year, haven't changed anything. So once we give our initial review, this will then be approved by our town attorney as well, and the school's attorney if they so choose, but this is same thing as last year, just different categories and maybe some different numbers.
Yeah, the numbers are pretty much in line with what we've been talking about. You and I spoke earlier today, and the total figure for the municipal budget is pretty close to what's reflected here. So
Yeah. We did have one small increase, like we talked about earlier, but it was minor. And if anything else does change, for whatever reason as we go, I'll certainly bring that to the council's attention, but at this point, it would be a small matter. Nothing big.
I have a question. Article 13. How much we got left in that reserve after we do this 140,000 for Cody's wheels and watercraft and such sort of thing?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because, and I haven't talked about this with Chief Sullivan yet, but I do think this brings I think the 140 is almost the same amount we're allocating to that this year. So I need to talk with Chief and get a better idea as to exactly what he's looking to purchase. Going forward, I do think we should have, or at least plan to have, some money in that reserve as we go. So
Yeah, I'm worried about future plans, but I wasn't counting on Jim's car and boat.
Yeah.
I was thinking of other things.
Let me follow up with Chief on that, and that's a good discussion point to have.
Any other questions or comments? So Josh, we will be asked to approve this at a later date. This is, we're just discussing this tonight.
Yeah. So we will be having final approval on everything. School budget, town budget, warrant articles, the 23rd of this month. Public hearings will be held that night.
Now, will this be an additional purchase of a boat, or will we be getting rid of the sealed craft?
So they currently have a watercraft here. This would be to upgrade that.
So they'd be getting rid of the old?
I believe so, yes, but I'll discuss that with Chief Sullivan a little bit more.
I have one question, this is the big one. It's only 20 grand. But, so which trucks pick up one in PW1 at the red pickup trucks with the red gate on the back? That one?
Yeah.
You're gonna put a plow on that one?
Put a plow on that.
And then you're gonna replace the stainless steel sander in the back of the 1-ton?
Correct.
That's what you wanna do?
The dump truck. We had a lot of issues with that sander this past winter with the motor. Was giving us a lot of trouble. So we had looked at equipping the single cab pickup with plow and sander, but felt replacing the sander on the dump body was a better idea. You can get a larger sander on there. The single cab, it would be less material we'd be able to use. But having a second plow truck, I feel, is a good idea.
Do we have anybody operating those this morning?
We did, just that up did all our plowing around the municipal yards, municipal properties.
How we gonna get rid of some of these other ones?
We're actively working on compiling a list of,
Because there's a lot of trucks knocked around,
yeah,
not a lot of trucks.
yeah. We're in liquidation mode, you could say. We have a lot of stuff down, a lot of good stuff that I feel we need to part ways with, yeah.
Any other comments, questions? All right. We're gonna move to the manager status report. Mr. Mayor?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the council. I really didn't have a whole lot to report tonight, other than I just appreciate all the work that we put into the budget this year. I will, after initial review from the council with the warrant articles, we will be putting those out for the public to see. I usually like to have the council get first glance, and if there's any immediate changes that we have, we can make those, but we'll be posting that information publicly After tonight's meeting, so. Other than that, I don't have a whole lot to report on.
This is the final point in tonight's meeting that's open for public comment. If anyone would like to address the council on items that were not on the agenda, I would ask for you to come up to the podium, state your name, address, and what you'd like to talk about.
My name's William Bart, I live on 123 40 acres. I was just checking to see how it's.
Mr. Barton, could you press the button so the green light comes on? Thank you.
William Bart, live on 123 40 acres, just down the road. I have a plot of land over on Stage Road that was, I had some taxes on. Paid those taxes a few weeks ago, came in, and I was just making sure that had been cleared with you guys. I don't know if I missed that in the first few minutes. But I know it was, didn't have to come in, I just want to make sure that it passed, that's set.
It was in the beginning of the meeting.
It was, okay. Okay, cool, hello. Thank you.
You just mentioned, so you announced the resignation of Danielle, and then you announced when it was authorized, when it actually happened. Effective date. Is there any policy that determines once the resignation comes in when that effective date becomes legal, or when it becomes actual?
I couldn't give you
And so I'm going to the next. You announced school board member that had just resigned. What was the date on that one? I'm sorry, I was trying to.
that was June 1st.
And when does resignation come in?
I don't know. We were.
So what is it that goes forward? What if the resignation comes on that day? What is it that is in place that allows him to say, okay, in a few weeks, couple of weeks, where it's actually 4 weeks before it actually becomes effective? Is there anything that determines that?
I don't think so. I think it's just, the candidate or political leader providing, a heads up that they're going to be resigning and serve into a certain time frame. I think it varies depending on the reason. But I don't think we have any policy that states when we receive a letter and then what the effective date is.
So they can serve until that date.
I believe so.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments?
Actually, I do. Apologize, Haley Keyser, Hermon. I have a major question. So if someone resigns, they're still allowed to go in and be part of privileged confidential information, even though they're asking to no longer serve? I guess I'm kind of confused.
Well, the thing is, if they were elected, they can serve the full term, and in this case, they're basically defining when their last day is gonna be. I don't think there's anything else that, really guides us on that. Unless, Josh, you don't.
No, they're still fulfilling their oath until
Okay.
resignation.
Thank you.
I have one question. With Danielle and the school board member, they're not filling a spot. Will we be able to have an election to fill those spots?
Well, as far as Danielle, her term was up, and so one of the positions that is open that we're voting on, that was hers. So that is basically taking care of itself. As far as Chris McLaughlin, that was not part of the ballot process right now. So it's my understanding that we will have to have a special election for that school committee post in November.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, we're going to move to council items now. John, you got anything?
I'm good.
Richard?
On the committee that I am the chair for, I want to thank Mr. Ford for taking over when I had that trip to Ireland. And the funny thing is, 8 years ago, it was I who went to Ireland to make sure that my sister, who lost her husband, had a good time. And this year, she was the one taking care of me. And the following week, I was sick and Mr. Ford had to cover for me. And I apologize for not knowing what was going on, but the other people in the committee had helped me quite a bit. And next Wednesday, hopefully we're going to have everything summarized, and that'll be our last meeting. Okay. For presentation.
Okay. And from there though, Josh, that comes to the council, and we're gonna talk about the recommendations, and then, is it like a workshop, and then we, basically vote on everything, or?
Yeah, we'll hold a public hearing on these as well. I'll get you the specific dates on when we're holding those. It'll move pretty quick, you know, the committee's been moving very fast too, so we'll get that wrapped up here. End of the month, first part of June.
Okay.
And we're still waiting on some lawyers' responses to questions. What we ended up doing was we voted on those articles that we're waiting a response on. And if the lawyers come back and say that that's a fine vote, we'll go with it. And if they come back and say, oh, you can't do that, we'll just drop the vote that we passed. Did I make myself understandable? In other words, we did it, and if you say we can't do it, we won't do it.
Okay, great. Garrett?
I don't have anything.
Okay, Chris?
I just wanted to say, I was looking through the department reports for March, and I saw the animal control one. I've been in touch with our ACO, Mr. Stubbs, who's doing a phenomenal job from my understanding. And it makes me wonder about certain dogs and what the recourse is for dogs that get loose multiple times in a row. It's my understanding from a few months back, he had brought in a dog that he had to go wrestle that was loose by the name of Zeus. This dog has been loose 17 times since Mr. Stubbs took over as an ACO. And I'd like to put it into a workshop, preferably sometime soon, to at least discuss what some options are about loose dogs that are repeat offenders like this, because it's literally out of control. 17 times is above and beyond, above and beyond anything I've heard of, and that's a lot. So I'd like to put it into a workshop, perhaps about either offering some more compensation for our ACO, or finding other recourse for getting these people charged and having the charges stick for dog at large. Obviously, this is a major issue. Other points, congratulations to Mrs. Young on winning the Boston Post-Cane, and best of luck to Ms. Haggerty in future endeavors. She was very business and budget oriented, and I think her numbers aspect is going to be missed. So that's all I have.
I do have one item I'd like to bring up. At our last council meeting, April 11th, we took action, and what ended up happening is the council went into executive session. We came out of executive session, and Ron Murphy read a statement that we had hired a new town manager. The problem with that is that there wasn't an actual vote. When the council commits to use taxpayer dollars for any expenditure, it has to be authorized through a public vote, and that did not take place. Quite honestly, the optics of that are not great, and if I was Stephen Fields, I would feel uncomfortable that there wasn't actually a public vote. When Mr. Barry was hired by the council in December of 2022, there was a public vote, and it was 7-0 in support of hiring Mr. Barry. So, I guess I would ask the council how you feel about, this wasn't actually listed on the agenda tonight, but I think we probably should have a vote to officially approve Stephen Fields as the town manager based on the contract that was shared with the council April 11th. And so I don't know how you all feel about actually making a motion and approving him tonight or doing it at a different time, but I think we do need to have a vote.
I don't, way I was always understood, I don't have a problem having a vote, I just don't have, I have a problem having a vote right here that it wasn't on the agenda. I'd rather it be on the agenda and then have a vote.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with voting for him.
And so there is the appointment that has to happen, which is, I believe, is what we did when we came out from my executive session, because I was taking the reins that day. So we are scheduling to formally appoint Mr. Fields as the town manager. And I've been in discussion with Ron about that as far as when we're gonna schedule it prior to him taking the position.
Right, but at this point, we have not actually voted publicly, and we did do that for you.
I felt because I was taking the position basically right then and there.
Yeah.
And we've run this by our town's attorney as far as the process on this.
When is Mr. Fields gonna take the reins over from
July.
July? So we have time to do it next meeting?
Yeah, I think
It's on the agenda already for next meeting.
it is.
I just have, it doesn't come up till tomorrow, but it's on there for next week.
Okay. That's all I have, so I guess we just have one more motion if somebody would like to make. Like to make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
I'll accept those.